Hi, welcome to another video from the Intelligent Auto channel. Today I have a 2015 VW Tiguan. It's 4-wheel drive, and the customer complaint is when he drives the vehicle he's getting random warning lights on the dashboard for traction control, tyre pressure monitoring, park brake, EPS. I've already driven the car, I've replicated the fault. I'm happy that the customer complaint is correct. So first of all, let's start with scanning the car for faults. So here's a printout of the faults on the car. It reads a bit like War and Peace. We've got faults in the brake module, for all-wheel drive control module, no signal, no communication. Tyre pressure monitoring control module, no signal, no communication. Power steering control module, no signal, communication. Engine control module, anti-theft immobilizer system, all-wheel drive control module, steering angle, air conditioning ones I'm not concerned about, central electrics, electronic parking brake, brake light switch, power steering control module, engine control module, terminal 75 emergency running active, start stop operation, in the park assist, data bus missing message, data bus implausible message, in the dashboard function limitation due to missing message, gateway module, engine control module, no signal communication, all-wheel drive control module, no signal, no communication, door electrics, not really concerned about, steering assistance, drivetrain data bus faulty, brake control module, no signal, no communication, and the parking brake module, engine control module, no signal, no communication, diagnostic interface for data bus, no signal, no communication, and anti-theft immobilizer system. I don't know if anybody's been unplugging things on this car, but there's a good possibility. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a fault erase to see what comes back. One fault in the gateway. All-wheel drive control module, no communication. I'm going to start the car up and then rescan it for faults. So I've started the car up and cycled the ignition. So we'll go back. We'll go back. We'll go for an auto scan on that. So as you can see, we've got some more faults. So we'll go for a report. And in the brakes, all-wheel drive control module, no signal. Tyre pressure monitoring control module, no signal. Air conditioning I'm not concerned about. Airbag, cut-off key. I've got the glove box out at the minute, so that's why we've got that fault in there. And then down here in the gateway, all-wheel drive control module, no communication. So this is a perfect example of instead of looking at what you've got, let's look at what you haven't got. So if I go back to what's called a gateway list, what we'll find is this is basically every module that the diagnostic tool is communicating with on the car, and in that list there's no 4-wheel drive module. So let's take a look at a diagram and see where this 4-wheel drive module lives schematically. This is a diagram of what's called the Powertrain can. There's the 4x4 module here. On the same data bus we have power steering, airbag, gear selector if it was automatic but it's not, and DSG if it's automatic but it's not, steering column, ABS, parking distance control, powertrain control module, and suspension if it's got active suspension, which this hasn't. Also down here we've got the instrument cluster here on the other side of the gateway. So the 4x4 module is on the powertrain can, and we are getting faults with communication from most of these modules in that first fault code list for communication on the can network, and we've got missing communication with the 4x4 can. So I'm going to elevate the car, get to the 4x4 module, which is part of the rear differential. It's a Haldex system on this, it's a generation 5, and I'm going to scope the can at the 4x4 module to see what it looks like. This is the control module here for the Haldex. I'm just going to take a couple of bolts out of it to drop it down so I can get access to the plug at the back. Next it comes off there. As ever with any no comms fault, the first thing I'm going to do is check powers and grounds. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use a test lamp. So this blue and red is my terminal 30 battery positive, which is there, and this one next to it, which is black and purple, is my terminal 15 ignition, and then the last one there, that's my ground. I'm just going to switch the tail of the test lamp into battery positive, and as you can see that's lighting up as well, so I'm quite happy. I've got all my powers and grounds. So the next thing is to put the scope on it. The can wires are the orange and black and orange and brown, which are there, and there. So I've got them back probed now, and we'll get you on the scope. So here's the Haldex unit off the vehicle. I'm going to open it up now, have a look, see if we can see anything. These differ from the earlier Haldex units. The earlier Haldex units had a pressure sensor and what have you, and a solenoid built into them. This is basically just a motor controller. You can see there's evidence here, water ingress into the unit. I don't know if this board will come out or not. Oh, yeah, it's lifted. That's the board. I'm not an electronics expert, so I'm not going to make judgment on it, but I know a man who can. A company called, well, their website, haldexrepair.co.uk, a lad called Matt. He's very good with these. I think what I'll do is I'll just send this unit down to him and let him do his tests on it and see what I come back with.
So we'll see what Intelligent Auto sent us in this one. So we've got the typical salt ingress. That's what these Gen 5 units always do. Obviously some corrosion here. And this is a CAN transceiver. So the CAN lines come in on these two pins here, and they go through what's called a choke. And then they come into the CAN transceiver, which gets converted to serial, which goes to the microprocessor. So now we've got it over on the bench, we've got the probe on the can, or the choke. That is not a nice crisp can packet, it's all over the shop. So what we'll do is we'll take you in here. We can see pin 4 here, it's pretty badly corroded. I will lift it off the board and we'll have a look. So we've got it off the board, let's go and have a look in the microscope. As you can see, that pin 4 basically wasn't attached to the board. RX, so that's your serial in and out from your microprocessor. These are what's driving your choke into your can lines, and this is where it disappears off to the micro. So with a bit of a clean up, there is plenty of copper there to solder to. It's very common that these passives are corroded away as well, and the traces that go along with it. There's a new one on the board. See, we get a nice crisp can packet from that now. No attenuation. Your can high and can low work perfectly. There are these pump calibration values. Basically, it calculates how much current and voltage it takes to drive the pump at 1 bar, 15 bar and 42 bar. 42 bar is the blow-off value for the pressure release valve. So when you carry out a pump learn, it goes and blows the valve off a few times and works out how much current and voltage it takes to drive it. These give you a good indicator to the condition of the pump. What I've done over the years is I catalogue out, well, I pull them out of the EEPROM and I catalogue out all of the pump learn values that, and we can tell here from, and I graph them out. So we're looking for sort of between, well, about 1.8 and then 2, and then between about 4 and 5-ish, and the same here. And then up here we tend to be about 9 or 10 amps, and then we tend to be about 7 volts. So this is current voltage. So 1 bar, 15 bar, 42 bar. Now we can see some that are wildly off on the chart, and these are an indicator that the pump is knackered. So if you look at these learn values, say this column up here is like full chat, but if you're only getting 9 milliamps to drive a pump, there's no there's no magic happening. You can't drive something on such a low value. Here 292 milliamps, now 320 milliamps. If your learn values are down here, the pump's absolutely knackered. But Mr. Intelligent Autos are all pretty crispish. I would say this is a bit low, 1.2. It probably works, but it probably isn't in the greatest of conditions. But they aren't really an indicator for a good pump. But when the values are really bad, then the pump's definitely knackered. So you can't use these to prove a good pump. It's very hard to prove a good Gen 5 pump, but it's usually quite evident when they're totally dead. This board's now been lacquered. As you can see, it's pretty shiny. Yeah. So they get dunked in like a polyester lacquer, a varnish. Get the northeast coast and Scotland is just what destroys Haldex controllers. The weather up there is, it's relentless. So the cases have been cleaned up. They're all ready to go. And these have been left in the phosphoric acid tank for a bit, so they come out nice and bright, and there's a nice keyed surface to get a bond on afterwards. So, but we'll bond that up in a second. So they get properly sealed up. And then we'll screw that down, and so when they're screwed down, we get a full ooze all the way around, and all new screws, and we'll go and put that on the drying rack for a bit. So it ends up like that, Mr. Intelligent Auto, and it goes in the bags with the rest. Royal Mail paperwork, and then all of those magically end up on people's doorsteps tomorrow. So good luck, hope that solves your problem.
So I've received the unit back from haldexrepairs.co.uk. Matt at Haldex Repairs, thanks very much. As you can see, the unit looks probably as new. As you will have seen in the video I've inserted from him, the quality of his work is spot on. So we're now going to refit it to the vehicle. Here we go, unit's going to go back on. It's just the same opposite of removal. So we're going to plug in these couple of harnesses and get them onto there. And then bolt it back in. There we go, simple as that. So drop the car down, clear some faults out of the car, get it started and see if all's good now. Right, so we've now done a full scan of the vehicle. We'll have these pre-existing faults from before, but if you notice now, we've got communications with the all-wheel drive control unit. So we'll just have a look at what faults. These are all historic ones. All-wheel drive, no signal. Tyre pressure monitoring still active. Air conditioning, defroster, flat motor, air quality sensor, in the airbag. Don't worry about. All-wheel drive control module. Data bus missing, suspension data bus faulty. So I'm going to go for a quick erase on that lot. So yeah, I've still got the glove box out, so there's going to be a fault in the airbag system. So one fault in the air conditioner, the airbag's not throwing a fault. So what I'm going to do now is start the car up, see if there's any of them warning lights coming on the dashboard that we had before. So ignition on. As I said, we will get an airbag fault. The reason being is I've got the glove box out, so I've got the airbag switch disconnected. Now before we would have had all kinds of random messages coming up on the dashboard for the ABS and the ESP and the park and brake. We're not getting that now, so what I'm going to do is put this glove box back in and road test the car. Just been for a short test drive there. This would normally have thrown faults up within literally a few hundred yards of driving. As you can see, there's no warnings coming on there. I've got a handbrake light on because I've got the handbrake light on, the seatbelt light on because I've got my seatbelt on. So we're back to the scanner. And we just cancel, don't exit. And as you can see, no faults now. so I'm going to call that a fix. So yeah, just a sum up on this one. One lights that will come on the dashboard for traction control, ABS, park and brake, park distance control, tyre pressure monitoring, all kinds of weird and wonderful faults, all down to basically a failed four-wheel drive control unit, the Haldex unit on the diff. Saving the customer money, sent that away to be repaired rather than replace it at haldexrepairs.co.uk. Matt's done a great job on it. He also, as he calls, winterizes them when he sends them back. So he basically dips the boards, I'm sure you would have seen the video, dips the boards in resin and also seals the box up. The box fitted from the factory has no weatherproofing on it, amazingly. So he does see, he sees a lot of units from this neck of the woods, from the north and from Scotland, because of the basically inclement weather that we have up here. So yeah, it's a long-term fix for the customer, diagnosed correctly, diagnosed conclusively, and the advice for repairing it that we give the customer has basically fixed the problem. So if you're having any problems with your vehicle, it doesn't have to be the engine, it could be problems with the traction control system or body control system, give us a ring. We're not just engine fault finders, we'll fault find on any modules on the vehicle. So if you get down in the comments, leave your comments. I always like to hear people's opinions on my videos and opinions on the way that I've gone about the diagnosis. Get down in the comments, and if you like what you see and you don't already subscribe, hit the bell for subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. I'll put a link to Haldex Repairs in the description of this video, so if you have any Haldex problems, you can send your Haldex units to him to repair. He turns them around in basically a few days. Very good service, can't recommend enough. So thanks for watching.